You are locked into the Diaspora Connection on earGROUND.
Hello, greetings, and welcome to earGROUND. This is a platform that takes you from place to place where you get to speak to creatives, Zimbabwean creatives that are working at home and also living abroad. And today I'm in Norway, in a place called Nesbyen, where I'm going to be speaking to a legendary artist, an artist who has done so much for the industry back home and raised the Zimbabwean flag far afield. And he continues to do this. He continues to carry the Zimbabwean arts and culture and heritage on his back. And everywhere he's going, he's telling the Zimbabwean story through music, dance, theater, you name it. He's making music of his own, but he's also teaching the next generation of creators, online, offline. And I'm going to be speaking to Jimu Makurumbandi.
I describe myself as a performing artist, like an all-rounder, a jack of all trades. I teach dance, different disciplines. I teach jazz for beginners, modern dance, and hip-hop for beginners. My strong background is also in modern and classical ballet. Trained in the National Ballet of Zimbabwe, been dancing with Tumbuka Dance Company, touring extensively for many years. And I grew up actually in Mbare. Growing up there, I was going to theater company called Savannah Arts. And also I learned a lot of things there. Background from school, that's where my music started from. Narita Primary School, that's where I started playing marimba and Mbare. And from there on, growing up, I just connected everything up to today, where I am. You know, when you grow up in a ghetto, I mean, all the ghettos, but I'm speaking specifically from the ghetto I grown up from. When you grow up in Mbare, you have so much influence from all corners, from all sources, be it sports, music, theater, dance, all different things you get. So growing up in a disadvantaged family, which was poor, you know, you turn to yourself and find out the least things that you can do without spending money. And in most cases, it's talent. So I discovered that my talent was in sports. I used to play basketball, I used to play tennis, and I used to run. And from there, I dashed on to traditional dance in the primary school, music, marimba, and traditional dance. So by doing this, I've also seen people like elders in the ghetto who always like inspiring me and calling me to come and join the group. For example, Savannah Arts, I was called to join Savannah Arts by an elder, and they knew that I was very good in playing music. So when I got there, the platform did not limit me. So I started exploring from there. From Savannah Arts, when I was called in Savannah Arts by an elder, his name is Jimu Makurumbandi. I think he's based in Denmark right now. He called me in to come and play marimba for Savannah Arts because their project was getting a lot of funding and growing, and so they needed people, local people to come, like local talent, and to come in to play and build up something. So from there, they also invited people from different areas, like from in Hanare actually. So they took people from different institutions. So I remember that we had like an outreach program that brought in the likes of Waringeni Denga, who was like an outreach program dance teacher from DFC. So when he came, that's when he discovered me, and he told me some information that you should try your luck in the DFC, the Dance Foundation course, which was run by the National Ballet of Zimbabwe. And usually when you go into this dance training, then you might stand a chance to join Tumbuka, the dance company, which was actually my dream. So from Savannah Arts, that's where I met DFC. In Savannah Arts, it was under the leadership of a choreographer and a dance teacher called Lifati Armedi. He was a very talented guy. And then from there, I went to DFC. And the DFC, I trained under a lady called Julie Nortenbelt, if I'm not mistaken. And she was the wife to the director of Tumbuka Dance Company, Never Camel. And then I was also under the guardianship of Sukaina Idom Mafundikwa, who was, I think, the overseer of DFC at the time. So from Savannah, went to DFC, and then in the DFC, I think my first year, I was always working very hard, so, and I'm proud of myself that I always work hard. It pays off. So I actually, in my first year in the DFC, I was discovered by the dance company director, Neville Campbell, and he asked me if I could go straight into Tumbuka Dance Company for apprenticeship. So then I went into Tumbuka, and then I toured with Tumbuka as an apprentice for a year. And I think in the second year, just before I finished my DFC, Tumbuka Dance Company offered me a contract. And then I joined them fully. So then I graduated in DFC, and I was already employed with Tumbuka Dance Company, and danced with them. And then in the midst of everything, I was always looking beyond, because I didn't want to be limited. So I was searching. I would go to South Africa, I danced with the Free Flight Dance Company. I don't remember the lady who was the director, but I remember there was a Natalie Fisher who was also like the assistant director. I think the daughter to the woman who was running the Free Flight Dance Company. And from there, I went back again to Zimbabwe, and then I continued working with Tumbuka Dance Company, touring with Tumbuka, international, local, and regionally. And then somehow I came across an audition that was it's Alliance Française. They were looking for a dancer and a musician all in one. So I knew that since I had a background of all these things, and they wanted somebody who know how to do traditional dance and play mbira or marimba, and everything is folk, what I'm talking about right now. It was not even linked to Tumbuka dance or modern dance. So then I went to Alliance Française, and then to my surprise, when I got there, met the actors that was in the production that needed a replacement, and there was Stanley Mambo, who was actually helping with the audition, and then it was me and Raymond Sereba that was picked out of, 80 or 100 people who came to the audition for 2 days. So we were picked up by Theatre Taliport director. His name was Philip Pellen. So he picked me and Raymond Kasawaya from Bulawayo, I think, yeah. He's late now anyway, rest in peace. So then we went to Reunion Islands, where we were received with a French script that we had to learn in 2 weeks. So we had to do everything in 2 weeks, like to speak French and then act and then dance and do everything. So we were spending like sleepless nights to make sure that this thing goes through. And we were actually preparing for a tour in France. So it happened and everything went well. And we started touring to France with Taliport and going back home for some few holidays here and there, and continued working with them. it was very interesting because that's when I really that's where I really got internationally exposed. And then I met a lot of people from all other parts of the world, and doing workshops around France, doing workshops wherever we tour with Theatre Talipo. And from Theatre Talipo, I toured Norway. And when I came to Norway, we stayed for about 2 weeks in Norway, and we were performing on a boat. And then when we were performing on the boat, we would go like all the fjords around Norway doing this show, Passage with Theatre Talipo. And then I just told myself that I fell in love with Norway, and I was like, okay, this place, I think I'm going to come back by myself. So after the contract of Talipo, I didn't renew it. So I was on my flight back to Norway. And then when I got to Norway, I didn't come just like without knowing where I was going. Because I started the Tumbuka dance company at TFC. There was a project that was running between Norway and Zimbabwe, which was in TFC. So I applied for a scholarship to study choreography at the state school in Oslo, and it happened that I got it. So when I left France, I went straight into that project. So I started going to school as a choreographer and joining other Zimbabweans that were picked in the program. It was very challenging because it was like a fast track program. They put everything that I could learn in 2 years in 1 year. So you can imagine how much work was there. And then after that choreography course, I even stayed longer in Norway. And then I was working with different theater companies, mainly Nordic Black Theater, and working with as a freelancer with known actors and actresses in Norway, and been doing a lot of commercial work on TV and stuff. I've been doing great. I mean, I was using everything that I've learned from home. I would expose myself to everything. Like for me, nothing is impossible. So I always reach for gold. Yeah, there was no internet and social media and other social places like you could go to as far as internet was concerned. So we were using, or I was using, my social antennas. I would use libraries. We had an opportunity to go to British Council Library. When you go to that library, you would get a lot of things. So I would read. If I'm looking for dance schools, I would read and look for dance schools. I would watch videos. And I remember when I was in that video in British Council, I used to watch a lot of videos from London Contemporary Dance Company, Phoenix Dance Company. I used to watch Kokuma Dance Company, all these things and I just wish that I would wish like one day I'll be like these guys. So libraries and talking to people, going to social events physically and seeing other people doing their work and respecting their work and talking to them after the work and exposing yourself out there and just go for it and ask, I'm a traditional dancer and I'd like to do this. I play Mbare. Would you want me to put a little bit of Mbare on your poem? Would you want me to dance a little bit on your song? You don't limit yourself. So every artist that was out there perform. It could be a poet, it could be a dancer, it could be a musician. You would go and find a common ground to work with them. So by doing that, you would also catch their audience. So the web grows. So you always know that if I go and work, for example, with, let's say if I work with Chirikure's audience are going to see me dancing to his poem. So that simply means that you got even more audience, his plus yours, okay? So you expose yourself with with being social, physically. All right. So that simply means that today it should be actually easier for people because everything is just like a button away. You just scroll, you put things on the side. You don't even sweat. You don't even spend too much energy looking for context and everything. And yeah, I think this is the way I can describe my social antennas. Knowing your own tradition and knowing your culture is the root for everything. You know, if you know where you come from, or if you know where you came from, and you know where you are, it's easier for you to go into the future with confidence. So, knowing traditional dance, knowing how to play mbira, knowing how to play marimba, and all these things gave me this. It completed me in a way. So yes, it gave me confidence. Yes, it gave me identity. Yes, it made me very proud. It made me unique. It made me stand out as a person when I'm in between different people from when I'm in between people from different countries, for example, from different cultures. I would still stand out because I know what I was representing. My connection between all the instruments I play or the music I like, the things that I've experienced is very simple. I don't separate dance from music or music from dance or theater from everything. I combine everything because I think as Africans, for me, it's like Africa is like one gigantic stage of everything. Our everyday life is like they're on a stage. So you don't need to separate these things. I don't separate it. So I jump from marimbas because I know if I play marimba, I get inspiration from the mbira. If I get from inspiration from the mbira, I dance. And when I dance, the voice comes out and I sing. All speak, all talk. Then during that travel of doing all these expositions of music and dance and mixing things, I also met different people from Gambia, Senegal, Mali, you know, with their cultures, and they get fascinated with what I do. And I show them how to play mbira, I show them how to play kalimba, Zimbabwean style, and all those things. I met the kora along the way of my travels. I met the kora when I was in France. I did not play it, but I went out with, I was hanging out with a lot of people who was playing it from Mali, Senegal. Very good guys who were playing it, but I respected it from a distance, and they play and I play Mira. We do some collaborations and stuff. But when I came to Norway, I decided to find one for myself. And then I got the kora. And my first kora, actually, I got it from a guy who was playing for Habib Koite. He sold me a little kora. It was not a kora, it was a ngoni, a little ngoni. And I was having trouble to tune it because it was a traditional tuning, and so it would go up and down. It would very difficult. So, and then I just kept it. And then I went to research more about the kora, the 21 key or 22 keys, I think, strings, I mean. And then when I started finding out about the kora, a bigger door opens. Then I noticed that a lot of people of all races, colors and creed were playing kora. So then this was my first time when I got in touch with the kora. And then I started playing it, teaching it myself first. But the things that I did in the beginning is that I read about it. I talked to people from the culture about it, the people who are from the griots from the culture, you know, and they told me the rules and how to play it and stuff. And I know one or two traditional songs that I played on the chorus so that I understand it. So that if I am to do something, if I am to break the patterns, the way they play, I know what I'm doing. It took me time. I think I have been practicing on my kora for almost 10 years now, and picking up some stuff. I'm trying to make my own different sound. I don't play exactly like they do in West Africa. I try to play something that is between kora and mbira, and I'd like to call it kombira. I've known Chiwes Mbare since I was in Tumbuka Dance Company, because there was another dancer who was a friend of Chi, and her name was Anna Morris. And so they would come and hang out at Tumbuka Dance Company. They would come and we would talk, we would exchange ideas, music and dance. She was very creative. I haven't toured with her because our programs were like this. Tumbuka was busy and she was busy, so we were always like that. But later in the years, when I returned back home after my travels, I think after the millennium, around 2010, 2011, so I went back to Zimbabwe and I brought my kora and my djembe, and I talked to Chi, because we've been working together on and off. When she comes to Norway, I'll play with them, with their band here in Norway, and then back and forth. So when I went to Zimbabwe, I was like, Shoniso, I would like to put some djembe on your mbira music and see how it's going to sound. And she said, no, sure, we can try. So I done that a lot of times, playing with her in almost all the gigs that she did in Unplugged, at the Book Cafe, and other commissioned productions, private gigs and stuff. So it was really interesting to play with her, and she was humble. Everybody can actually agree with me. She was the humblest female ever. A musician. She was a superstar, but she would treat you like a superstar, and she doesn't treat herself like that anyway. She was like very warm-hearted, very extremely talented, and she was talented voicically and musically, and she was she was a diva. That lady was something else. And I always remember her for good stuff, everything good. During my prime time, when I was performing as an artist, I think it came when I came from France, and when I finished my graduation at the state school as a choreographer. I created a piece called Girozi, and that piece told the whole story, like where I have been to where I was at that point in lifetime. So when I was dancing, I incorporated mbira in the solo, and the drums and the song that was playing is something that I also have recorded in the music, in the studio. So the whole piece was like my my piece of art. Achievements. I don't grade achievements in papers or trophies, because I feel that I have achieved a lot of things that cannot be measured by time, money, or trophy. But of course, I was the very first best male dancer, NAMA award, came to me. And this is the time when I was touring in France and working with Savannah Arts and doing a lot of projects back home in Zimbabwe. So I always have involved myself with Haifa, with a lot of stuff. So my face has been in the picture for a very long time. So I was awarded with the best male dancer at that time. And I think that was also like a mark of an achievement. But I think I've achieved so many things to date. Like to date right now is I live in Norway, and I'm working as a dance teacher. I still do exactly that, what I've wished for. And it's not by coincidence, because I pride myself that it's a big achievement. That one is a tricky question because every time when I'm just sitting by myself and just trying to find out, like measuring my achievements within myself and see what I have done, and what more what I might need to do more. Is a very few people, or maybe I can count them, maybe one person that is come back to me and literally said, thank you for helping. I have helped a lot of dreams to grow, and I'm proud of that. I don't help people to grow because I want something from them. But I think it's very important that if somebody has played a role in your life and put you somewhere, that it's not automatic, or you might think that it was supposed to be like that. I really think that is very important to just credit the people that help you to go up the ladder, So I've helped a lot of people. I'm not going to say names, but they know themselves. And from the moment they start to appreciate other people that help them and give credit, probably their things will also flow well. Because usually that's one sickness that a lot of artists have, especially in Zimbabwe. They don't give credit to anybody. They feel like whatever they have, they're entitled to it. They are the ones that started it, and it's their idea. And it's really like, it feels just like a kid's game. Nobody really appreciates that somebody has done this for me. And until people start to appreciate each other, maybe we can eradicate jealousy, and maybe we can empower ourselves. Like, when you grow as an artist, when you appreciate, you grow as an artist when you credit somebody, because when you credit them, you don't know how much impact it's going to make, and maybe they're going to give you more, or they're going to even help you more, and they're going to give even more links to other people. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's a tricky one too. But the thing that made me go into traditional music and traditional dancing and everything, and then at the same time use dance. I come from a very strong, solid dancehall background. It's because I know where I was standing. Appreciating my own culture has made me appreciate, for example, the Jamaican culture. And the reason why I did that is because I noticed that actually there is also a lot of creativity in Jamaican dancehall, in the music. There's so much creativity, and these guys, they actually sing my life. Every song that was coming out in Jamaica, for me, I felt like this is like meditation. This is like they're telling my story. So for me, Jamaica was like, dancehall music has been always like a mirror of my other shadow. You know what I mean? And it has helped, to be honest, Jamaican music has helped a lot of Zimbabweans in times of hardships. So Jamaica was like a mirror and was like a big brother that was soothing us to calm down through music. That's why it's not by accident that Zim dancehall, they call it Zim dancehall, it just came up, It's been a process. A lot of people have been part of this thing. I know that I've been even part of this thing by buying music, buying records. I mean, there's the box with records right there. Buying music, buying records, playing in the ghetto, making people come together, feeling niceness. It's just like happiness, So dancehall would bring happiness. Nobody owned it, and that was one of the most important things. So everybody would just come, dance, be happy, and get all these images and fantasies and go home. Now that I'm based here in Norway and been here for many years, my kids or my family, I'm actually teaching them to, not to be like me, but I'm I know that I'm not rich, but I'm rich with my knowledge. So I share my music. I teach them to play marimba. I teach them to play Mbare. I make sure that they watch other artists, performing artists, black artists from USA. They love to watch Michael Jackson dancing. They love to watch Salif Keita. They love Angelique Kidjo. I mean, I expose them to all these things that doesn't need money. The things that like strengthens their soul and identity. And especially because I live here in Norway, my kids, they really need to identify themselves as Africans, and I need to strengthen their soul so that they don't lose control. It is easy to lose control here when you really don't know your roots. So I always teach them that, whatever you do, you go out, you speak Norwegian, you speak English, you speak Dutch, French, Spanish. When you come into the house, we speak Shona, our mother language, right? And then everything we do in the house is Shona. But when they go out there, of course, they expose themselves to a lot of things, but they go out proud. They have the root, they have their identity. So it's very important that the kids should know that, And I think this is the legacy that I'm giving them. I'm sure anytime from now when they grow up, they're going to appreciate it and they're going to probably notice what I was trying to do with them. So my advice to young artists, both performing and visual, is that never limit your skies. The sky is the limit. So in whatever you do, you have to find the true inspiration, the source of inspiration. And inspiration without true information can lead you to stagnation, But if you have the right inspiration and right things to say, to do, and the right creativity mind, originality, it will take you far. You won't stagnate from that. So whatever you jump into, make sure you've done thorough research. Very important. Very important to read. Very important to open your eyes and see what's happening. Very important to listen to other artists or to see other people's work, because that will inspire you. If you open your ears, really, there's another artist who sang a song, there's always a Madimikira, and there's always something you learn from everything. And one important thing, don't be a judge in any case that you are not called for. Don't just give comments, especially social media is killing young artists. You write a song right now, you go to the studio, tomorrow you want it out because you just want to have likes, loves, and that's wrong. You are in it for the wrong reasons. Just make sure that you nurture your talent. Spend time, even if it's one song, if it takes 3 months, 4 months, even if your song takes a year, make sure you're putting enough work for it to be worth. So with that, you should find yourself, stay strong, get inspired, see what's happening around you, and you'll be right.